Hello, my children. Welcome back to Social Studies class. Today we are moving on from the Maya and we are talking about the Aztecs. So it's going to get exciting. There's three major civilizations we're learning about in the early Americas, and the Aztecs is one of them. So for today, you need your textbook, your notebook, and a separate sheet of paper in case you have any questions. Today, I would like your textbook to be open to page 474. 474. And your learning objective is I will be able to locate where the Aztec lived on a map. I will be able to locate where the Aztec lived on a map. So today's just kind of a nice intro to the Aztecs. Hopefully, if you have your page open, you will see on page 475 that this nice orange shaded area on that map at the top, that is where the Aztec Empire was located. And if you see here on our map on the slide, that green is good. So that kind of shows you where it is. Remember, when you did the map, you either have done it with a printout, you printed it out and then color coded it, or you made your own in your textbook, or in your notebook, I mean. If you did not do Aztecs, I would do Aztecs, at least, shading that area and making sure you know where it is located, pertaining to all the other ones as well. So let's break it down. Before you start notes, listen to me. You need to make sure you have that subsection of Aztecs, okay? That way you know where that section starts and the Maya ends and all that stuff. First question we are talking about is, where did the Aztecs live? The first Aztecs were farmers who migrated from the north to central Mexico. Finding the good farmland already occupied, they settled on a swampy island in the middle of Lake Texcoco. There in 1325, they began building their capital and conquering nearby towns. Okay, so that's how Texcoco becomes a thing. And they establish it kind of in the middle of a lake. That's where it first begins. War was a key factor in the Aztecs' rise to power. The Aztecs fought fiercely and demanded tribute payments from the peoples they conquered. Cotton, gold, and food that poured in as a result became vital to their economy. The Aztecs also controlled a huge trade network. Merchants carried goods to and from all parts of the empire. Many merchants doubled as spies, keeping the rulers informed about what was happening in their land. So, they grew many similar crops to the Maya because they're kind of in that same territory. So we see maize, avocados, and they eventually, after war, tribute, and trade made the empire strong enough and rich enough, by the 1400s, the Aztecs ruled the most powerful state of Mesoamerica. Nowhere was the empire's greatness more visible than its capital, Tenochtitlan. I practiced that one, Tenochtitlan. So that's the city, Tenochtitlan. Now, Tenochtitlan is really interesting. To build this amazing island city, the Aztecs first had to overcome many geographic challenges. One problem was with difficulty getting to and from the city. Because remember, they built their city in the middle of a lake. So they built something called causeways, one of your vocab words, which is raised roads across the water or wet ground. So if you look, follow my mouse, find my mouse, here it is, look. These white little lines are the causeways or roads to Tenochtitlan. It's a really cool setup. It connected the island to the lake shore. They also built canals that crisscrossed the city, and the causeways and the canals made travel and trade very easy. Tenochtitlan's island location also limited the amount of land available for farming. To solve this problem, the Aztecs created floating gardens called chinampas. Chinampas. So they're floating gardens. That's another vocab for you. They piled soil on top of large rafts which they were anchored to trees, and they stood in the water. The Aztec made Tenochtitlan a truly magnificent city, home to some 200,000 people at its height, and its huge temples, a busy market, and a grand palace. So here it kind of shows you the location of it all, but here kind of gives you the overlay of that city Tenochtitlan, because here's a little dot. See, it's right in the middle of that lake. This is kind of like what it would have looked like, kind of an aerial view, if you will. If you're not done with the slide, you can pause, but we are trucking along. What was the Aztec social structure? So this is when things get interesting. The Aztec emperor was the most important person in society. He attended to law, trade, tribute, and warfare. Trusted nobles would be the next one. They were tax collectors, judges, other government officials, and they were passed down from father to son. The youngest nobles, or the young nobles, would also go to school to learn their responsibilities. So they did have a kind of education system, if you will. Now, just below the emperor and the nobles was the class of warriors and priests. Warriors were highly respected and had many privileges, but priests were even more influential. They led religious ceremonies, passed down history, and as keepers of the calendars, decided when to plant and to harvest. The next level of ancient society included merchants and artisans. Below them was another lower class of farmers and laborers that made up the majority of the population. And then lastly was the slaves, who were at the bottom of the society and struggled the most. Okay, so I kind of did my best to number how it was grouped, and I had some description in it so you could kind of understand what their roles might have been. But merchants and artisans is kind of self-explanatory, especially with our history of social structures before. One thing that I would like you to look at when you finish your notes is go to page 476. There's this really good depiction of Tenochtitlan during its time. They show you the canals, they show you the trading, they show you the chinampas, gives you a good visual of what that daily life really looked like. Today is just a nice notes day. So once you've completed that, I'd love you to check out that picture. And then, yeah, enjoy yourself, enjoy your day. Great work, everybody.